Good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Scar. Today is August 26th, 2025, and we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. As a reminder, our call-in number is 1-971-254-3149, conference ID 866-914-607#. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak. Again, pressing *6. It is very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. Okay, call to order. We've done that. So I'd like to welcome everyone and do our Board of Commissioners roll call. Commissioner Bell, good morning.
Good morning.
And Commissioner Fournier.
Good morning as well.
Good morning. Okay, I am looking at my list, and we would kick off today with Adventist Health Tillamook. I do not see Eric on the line, but I'm going to give just a moment in case I am missing a number. Okay, we're going to go ahead and jump then into the Coastal Caucus with Senator Weber, because I do see that she's here this morning.
Good morning. I'm here.
Good morning.
Beautiful day, isn't it? You know, it was so amazing. Yesterday, I spent the day in Salem because of the transportation hearing. And when I left there, the thermometer on my car said 93 degrees. And when I got back to Tillamook, it was 68 degrees. And it felt so good to come back to 68 degrees. So the folks in the valley are sweltering, but we are enjoying the calm and the cool, except that everyone in the valley over the weekend decided that they needed to be here too. And it made for some interesting interactions throughout the county. Lots of people were here. I'm sure you'll all agree with that. I got to visit Sammy's Place, the location for Sammy's Place. And Sammy's Place is affordable housing concept for families and individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in Nehalem. And they haven't started construction. Their plans are going forward. I hope that all of you have an opportunity to visit there when it is completed and to give your support to it, because it is going to be a wonderful place for folks to live. I was very impressed. I got to the location and a deer walked in front of my car, and the apple trees, I'm sure, were something that they were after. But it was a beautiful location, and it's going to be a very accessible housing development for folks throughout our county. I want to congratulate Bay City on its wonderful celebration this weekend. Everyone that visited has nothing but good things to say about it. I was not able to attend, but I am certain that everyone had a good time. As I said, I was in Salem yesterday for the hearing on the transportation package that we will be having the special session on starting on Friday. And I don't remember exactly how many people had signed in to testify, but it was over 3 hours of 2 minutes apiece. And I have to say that the vast majority of the people who chose to come to submit testimony were in favor of LC2. It's not a bill yet, but it will potentially come forward as a bill. And one of the issues that is most prominent in that bill that has been added, because that makes it a 2 rather than a 1, is the weight mile issue for truckers. There are some real issues that people are gathering round, and a lot of it has to do with the gas tax. and how that will be impacting us in our state. And right now, if you go online and look, you will see that there are over 2,000 people who have submitted testimony. And I have to tell you that there will be another hearing on Friday. The structure of it hasn't been completely determined yet. We'll start at 9 o'clock in the Senate on Friday morning, and we are scheduled through Tuesday. And so it's going to be interesting. I can't tell you how it's going to turn out. There are people who are, of course, bringing forth amendments because there are some things that are in that bill that are not favorable to a lot of people, including the ability of the transportation people to be able to raise the gas tax in the future without coming to the legislature or the people. And so there's little fixes in there that need to happen to make it more palatable to the majority. But I have to tell you, if you have a strong opinion on this, please submit your testimony. And you know, it's the squeaky wheel who gets the grease. And so you need to weigh in on this and make your opinions heard. So there you go with that. Also, last week I got to attend a Tillamook Working Lands meeting, and you know, they have a tour coming up. This is a great organization that our farmers, our fishers, and our people from the forest have come together to make a difference, and they are working together. So the tour coming up is going to be wonderful in September. Another thing that we need to look at is Wednesday, the 27th, we have a revenue forecast, and we're going to be looking into that crystal ball to see what our economic impact is going to be on our state. And with some of the legislators that I have talked to, they are not, well, let's say we don't have any positive information coming forward that's going to give us positive messages about the money that the state will be able to spend. But remember what people say, we don't have a money problem, we have a spending problem in our state, and so that also makes it interesting. I got to meet with Mike Sandin from the Port of Garibaldi this week and talk about all of the issues that are going on with the port. And as a result, the port is going to be coming to the Coastal Caucus meeting. That will also be this week to talk about challenges for our ports especially, and for dredging especially. And so our ports need special attention, especially if we're looking at economic viability, fishing, and the opportunities that we have with our ports to be able to increase our economic viability. So the other thing we're going to be talking about is our economic summit that is also coming up in September. Up and down the coast, we're looking at our coastal opportunities, especially for economic viability. So I guess that's, I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to say goodbye, and do you have any questions? And then about 3 things are going to come to me. But these are all the things I have in my notes right now. So I will be in Salem for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday for the special session. And we won't have, I'm sure you won't be having maybe you will, on Tuesday morning. Are you going to be having something? I don't know yet, but if you are, I'll be here. And if you aren't, I won't.
We will be having our regular call on Tuesday.
Well, then I'll have interesting news for you on Tuesday.
Thank you. Yes, that will be fabulous. We'll have an up to the minute update. So that will be great. Thank you, Senator. Any questions for the senator? Oh yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, pay attention to what's going on. I am so amazed when people say things to me and ask questions when they haven't listened to the news, they haven't delved into what is happening, and they are making assumptions that are unfair and untrue. So pay attention, folks. Educate yourself on what's going on.
Yeah, thank you for that message. That is so important. And I think so often where I see it at its worst is on Facebook, where people respond to comment after comment and they never go back to the original post. They don't read the article that's part of the original post. They just start running off down these crazy bunny trails. So thank you. I think that message is really important to educate oneself. You can't do anything better in this world than to educate yourself and find the facts before you start sharing opinions.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Senator. Any questions for the senator before we let her get off off the mic and remember what else she might have forgot? Because I totally get that one. Okay, not hearing any. I was watching to see if we had Representative Javity, and I don't think that we do, but one quick shout out in case he snuck in on a different phone number. Okay, I don't think he has. So we will move right through our list and we'll move on to the Tillamook County Community Health Center with Camille Sorensen. Good morning, Camille.
Good morning. First of all, I wanted to kick off our community report this week by celebrating our community health workers. They are trusted professionals with deep ties in our community and serve across a broad spectrum of services. This very important work improves health equity and health outcomes for our patients and our communities. We're grateful for their dedication, skill, and the incredible work that they do. So please join me and extend a heartfelt thank you to the community health workers in Tillamook County. We wanted to let everyone know that there is a confirmed outbreak of pertussis, otherwise known as whooping cough, in Tillamook County. Pertussis is highly contagious respiratory infection that causes violent coughing, which can make it hard to breathe. Those suffering from the disease endure intense coughing, often ending with a whooping sound. That's where it gets the name whooping cough. It can begin like a common cold, but unlike a cold, the coughing can last for weeks or even months. Whooping cough affects babies and young children most commonly and most severely, as well as older adults with underlying medical conditions such as compromised immune systems and moderate to severe asthma. If you have a new unexplained cough or have been in contact with someone with pertussis and have a cough, please talk to your provider about getting tested. The best protection against pertussis is vaccination. The vaccine is recommended for children starting at 2 months of age, during adolescence, and for pregnant individuals. Next, the health department has received numerous calls from residents concerned about an increase in mosquitoes around their property. While we do not, provide mosquito mitigation or enforce any laws involving their management, we do have a few recommendations of steps you can take to protect yourself and your family. First of all, reduce the presence of mosquitoes in their surroundings. Mosquito-proof your home to reduce your risk for becoming sick. Eliminate standing water in and around your home and business where mosquitoes can breed. At least once or twice a week, empty any water from flower pots, pet food and water dishes, bird baths, hot tub covers, buckets, barrels, and other places where water can collect. Check for clogged rain gutters and clean them out. Remove discarded tires and other items that can collect water. And look for containers or trash in places that can be hard to see, such as under bushes or under your home. And please take personal precautions to prevent mosquito bites. Apply insect repellent to exposed skin. Generally, the more active ingredients in a repellent has can protect you better from mosquito bites. There are low DEET repellents for those that may be more suitable for children and those with sensitive skin. Repellents can irritate the eyes and mouth, so avoid applying repellent to the hands of children. Whenever you use insecticide or insect repellent, be sure to read and follow the manufacturer's directions for use as printed on the products. And when weather permits, wear long sleeve shirts and long pants whenever you're outdoors. Place mosquito netting over infant carriers when you're outdoors with babies. And consider staying indoors at dusk, dawn, and early evening when there are peak mosquito biting times. Install and repair windows and door screens so that mosquitoes cannot get inside. Next, we have received several concerned calls regarding the possible presence of blue-green algae in the county. Blue-green algae, or cyanobacteria, are natural bacteria that live in the water. It isn't really algae. The blooms look bright green or blue-green and look like paint or slick on the surface of the water. Some cyanobacteria produce toxins that can make people and pets sick. Only a fraction of all water bodies in Oregon are visually monitored or sampled due to limited physical and monetary resources. We here in Tillamook County Environmental Health do not test for cyanobacteria. If you are concerned about a local body of water, we recommend that you contact the Oregon Health Authority by emailing hab.health@odhsoha.oregon.gov or call 971-673-0482. The toll-free number is 877-290-6767. Please remember, just because there is no recreational health advisory regarding a local body of water, that does not mean a bloom is not present. You are your own best advocate when ensuring your safety and that of your family and pets. Be aware, and when in doubt, stay out. And lastly, Tillamook County Community Health Center offices and clinics will be closed in recognition of Labor Day on Monday, September 1st. We will return to our regularly scheduled hours on Tuesday, September 2nd. We wish everyone a safe and enjoyable holiday.
Thank you, Camille. Any questions? Okay, not hearing any. Thank you again. We will move on to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Good morning, Gail Nelson.
Yes, good morning.
Go ahead, Gail. You were there. You just muted yourself, I think. There you go. You look like you're unmuted.
Well, good. I think I am finally. So
You
good
are.
morning,
You
everyone.
are. Good morning.
Yay. First of all, I'd like to thank Camille. It's always so informative with your report out, and I certainly learn a lot from you and from everyone on this call, so thank you. For here at the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy in Wheeler, just a couple of updates. We are continuing to plan for our ribbon cutting and open house. It's on Saturday, October 4th from 1 to 4 p.m. Everyone is invited. Hope to see you there. We'll have some refreshments, a few opening remarks, and then the facility will be open for tours. And speaking of that, we, as you know, have the dental furnishings installed, and on the 4th of September, the clinical furnishings will be delivered and set up. Then the office furnishings and waiting areas, that will be on the 15th. And just shout out, we do have an elevator in the building, so that will be helpful for some. And otherwise, we're here to serve you. If you're interested in scheduling an appointment, please give us a call at 800-368-5182. Our clinic hours are 8 to 6 p.m. and our pharmacy is 9 to 5:30. And that's my update for this morning, unless there are questions.
Thank you, Gail. Any questions for Gail? Okay, not hearing any. We are just getting excited with you to open that building and begin service in that. Sounds amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next would be Frank Hanna Williams. I do not see him on the call this morning, but I'm always, as I do, pause just in case. Okay, not hearing him. I also do not see Randy Thorpe from Emergency Management. So Commissioner Bell, was there anything you wanted to mention in that area?
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, indeed, Randy is on vacation, and we no longer have Ann Moorhead with us because she was a temporary worker through the Rare AmeriCorps program, which the federal government discontinued. But the discontinuation happened just a couple months before the end of Ann's term. And so we were able to just hire her on as a contractor for the end part of her term in order to complete the project she was working on. So that was great, and we were very grateful for Ann. And I'm glad Randy can get off and have a vacation. So the thing that I can talk about emergency management is that on Friday, I attended a meeting. There's a group in North County, and it's a coalition of emergency preparedness groups like the Emergency Volunteer Corps of Nehalem Bay in cooperation with cities, so Manzanita, Wheeler, Nehalem, and Rockaway Beach. They're working together to come up with a plan for emergency supply sites in the case of tsunami or other kinds of emergencies where emergency supplies are required. So they had a meeting on Friday, and the OREM, which is the Oregon Office of Resilience and Emergency Management, some folks from OREM came to the meeting and talked about how we can work together. So how we can have a state, local, private partnership with all of these groups working together to accomplish the goal. And it was very encouraging. It's really important work, and no one group can carry the weight of the work. So for instance, the state can't just do it for us, and the county can't just do it for everybody. The county can't just do it for the cities, for example, because the cities are independent governments. So for this coalition to be forming, it's very strong and hopeful work, the things that we can accomplish together that we wouldn't be able to do separately. So this, where we're at right now, the stage of it is that we have lists of what those communities have already and what they want and what they need, what they think they need. And then in this meeting, we were able to talk to the folks from OREM about ideally, what would we have stored? And they said, ideally, on the coast, in a tsunami situation, we would have 6 to 8 weeks of supplies stored, because it could be that long before anybody gets here to help us. So 6 to 8 weeks is daunting. So we talked about, okay, well, if that's our ultimate goal, that's great. But where do we start? We can't start with 6 to 8 weeks, because that would be, several $1 million. And so he suggested, that's Jeff Gilbert from OREM, who suggested, well, let's plan starting for 1 week of emergency supplies in the communities, particularly the communities that will be isolated. Some of them will be islands, and they'll be isolated by downed bridges or landslides, et cetera, trees falling. Particularly for the communities that'll be isolated, let's plan to have at least 1 week. And so we're working on those 1 week lists, and then also we're working on potential sites for evacuation caches, and the CACHE, of course. And additionally, we're talking about how to plan for, it's a very different thing to plan for a little city of a couple hundred people versus how many people might be here in the summer. So how to plan for that, because if we have a disaster that happens during high season, like Senator Weber was talking about earlier on the call, if we have a disaster that happens during high season when 100,000 people are here, then we'll burn through our emergency caches right away. So there's a lot of talk about how to plan for that. Should we plan for a median number? Should we if we're not planning for the number of people who are here on the 4th of July, for example, should we go in the middle? Like, how many people are here in the winter? How many people are here on July 4th? And we shoot for a number in the middle. And of course, how to pay for all that. So it's very dynamic, important, exciting work. And so many people in the community are involved in it, and the state is involved. And Randy would have been there, but he was on vacation. So it's just really encouraging to me. And it's another way that I'm so grateful to live here, where people come together to seriously work together on sticky community issues. So I am happy to give that report.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm going to ask you if you want to just switch your hat to your Board of Commissioners hat and keep going.
Oh, sure, thanks. Well, just briefly, I'll say that I was at the Pearl also on Saturday, as was Commissioner Scar, because I saw you there. And it was delightful. So I just want to say kudos and bravo to the city of Bay City. I hadn't really spent any time in Bay City for a couple of years. And so I walked around, I looked at the park. There's a beautiful new park with parking and a flower garden right at the entrance to the city. I looked at the campgrounds. It's just, they're doing such a good job in Bay City. And the Pearl was great. I expected to pay to get in, and I didn't have to pay. So I don't know how they funded it, maybe through grants. And I'd love to hear about that if somebody from Bay City is on. But I just want to say kudos. I got to visit a local artist whose business card is here on my desk, Nicola Meeks. She's a Bay City artist, and she had fabulous, very interesting work, super diverse, and fabulous lino prints and drawings and jewelry, and she just does something of everything. And the band Eagle Eyes was there, and they are so good. It's such like nostalgic, feel good music for me. And there were nice food carts. It was just great. And it was great to see so many people. There were probably visitors there, but it really seemed like a local crowd, which I appreciated. And I will end my report there. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Fournier, jump right in.
Well, good morning. I'm not going to talk about anything as exciting as the Pearl, but I did want to discuss something because I've been getting lots of calls, and I'm sure my fellow commissioners have as well, regarding the abundance of abandoned RV trailers and campers along the roadways. In particular, Miami Foley is a big one that's getting a lot of attention, as it should. I can tell you, I just wanted people to be aware that I know that the Sheriff's Office and Solid Waste and Community Development are working on a particular problem up on that road where it's kind of centralized. But the other problem that needs to be addressed is the vehicles that are on each pullout. I did over the weekend drove up Miami Foley, and as well as Hobsonville Point Road, which also has several abandoned RVs. Again, we had cleaned that up, I think, last year, and they're back, and there's some cars. So we are working on it, but I wanted to talk to you, to everybody today, just because this is something that the cities are dealing with as well as the county. And I just wanted to kind of talk about abandoned RV trailers and why we don't just tow them and get rid of them. And here's the biggest problem is tow companies don't want to do it because there's a huge expense involved in this. So I just want to run through this. The first process is we have to tag them, which means the deputy has to go up there, tag these vehicles with one of those orange tags. And you'll see several tags sometimes, and there's a reason why they're not being towed right away. One of the reasons is we have a storage yard that these have to sit in, and that storage yard that we rent from the port is pretty much full with about 20 of them. So the vehicles have to be towed to the yard. If they're worth less than $500, which most of them are, we don't have to do the DMV lien paperwork. So that cost is taken out. But the tow companies are charging several $100s for the tow itself, and some of these don't have wheels on them, and it could be upwards of $1,000 just for the tow. If the vehicle is worth more than $500, we have the added expense of doing the DMV lien paperwork, which is an added expense to something that's going to get even more expensive as I go along. The state DEQ requires that whenever an RV is to be crushed and dismantled, there has to be an asbestos uh, inspection done, and they have to test for asbestos. Now, surprisingly, myself and some others believed, oh, well, they haven't put asbestos in RVs for years, so we can just have a year cut off for these RVs and not have to spend the money for an inspection. Well, unfortunately, that's not true. Asbestos is still legal to be put in RV, so every trailer or camper has to be inspected and potentially has asbestos in it. And if that costs a couple $100 for a certified asbestos inspector. We are looking into, again, one of the things we're looking at, this is going to be a problem we'll be dealing with for years. But that additional cost, we are looking into maybe certifying some county staff at the inspector level, which would save some money and also time, and they'd be able to go out there and do a whole bunch of them at one time. Now, if they have asbestos in it, then the cost can go up to about $5,000. In fact, the city of Tillamook, and I'm not sure Sean's going to mention it today if he has the information, but Chief Troxel called me yesterday. It was ironic that yesterday was, for some reason, a solid waste day, and he was looking for if there was any funding available to help mitigate the expense of the asbestos abatement, because he was quoted, or is actually going to have to pay $3,700 to get these RVs, or one RV asbestos removed before it can be crushed. So again, it's incredible if you look at all these junk trailers that they could be minimum about $1,000 for removal and destruction, up to upwards of $5,000. I'll get some notes here. I don't want to forget anything here. The county currently has 20 units, RV units in storage. The lot is full. We are going to have to look at possibly expanding that to basically, because we don't want them. Nobody wants these things along the roadway. Nobody wants them along the pullouts. Those pullouts are there for if you have car trouble. Some places along the Miami Foley are for fishing. None of us want those there. We are trying. Trust me, the county is making efforts to get rid of these. Everybody is on the same page about those. So we are looking at other options. We're trying to be creative with how can we get these. There's some grant money available, so we are working hard on that. Just for information, in the last long session this year, there was an RV abatement bill, but it failed in committee, didn't get out of committee by the adjournment. I have talked to Representative Javadi, and he said he'd be willing to take another run at a similar bill in the long session 2027. I, of course, asked, is there any way to squeeze it into the current ODOT funding? Of course, there's not. There's no discussion about adding anything else in there. So unfortunately, that bill failed, but he also reminded me of something interesting, which will come up in the short session, is that had the TLT change the fix that would change the restricted funds from 70-30 to something else, part of the language in that would have allowed us to use some of that money for some of that restricted money, which we can't do now, for things like this RV abatement. So that's an important thing when and if this comes back up. People who are against it, the bigger picture here is those funds. The reason we're asking for that change is to fund things like this, which there is just no way to make money off this. Abandoned cars still have value because they're metal and they have scrap value. These RVs are worth nothing. In fact, they're a negative up to $5,000 or more. So we are, I just want to remind people that if that law can get changed, if we can get a new restriction, if we can start using that restricted funds for other things, this would be something maybe we look into. Also, the question was, well, just cite the last registered owner. Well, the city found out this week that the last registered owner of a particular RV they removed was in 1987. So it's unrealistic to think we're going to recoup any cost on that one. However, the sheriff's office will investigate, and the city will investigate if they have known suspects in the dumping. So, and then we just hope the DA will actually file on those. But this is a complicated problem. We're going to be dealing with this a lot in the next few years. I just wanted people to know that we are on it. It's not an easy fix. It's frustrating. We hate it as well. And that's all I have today.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate that information. I think it is important to get out to the community that we do want to have a fix for this. And I appreciate Commissioner Fournier's just his deep dive in to help us try to find a fix. So thank you for that. Okay, I will keep Yes, thank you. I will keep mine short today. I did do my regular radio monthly conversation with Lisa on Monday. We talked about the biological opinion, so I'm going to give you just a thumbnail on that today and invite you, if you would like to get a deeper dive on this, to go to the podcast that is should be uploaded by now. And that podcast, where the podcast is, also has a link to the documents that I will refer you to today. So we've all been talking about the biological opinion for a long time. It started back in 2009, and we are still working our way through it. What's happening now is we have been waiting for the NEPA process, which is the National Environmental Protection Act process, to finish. They've been doing what's called an environmental impact statement to determine exactly what the impacts of this will be, and they've been creating their implementation plan through that process. Right now, the environmental impact statement has been put out publicly, and it is a time for public comment. So many of you have asked, when will this end? When will we know? Well, we're getting close to that point. What's critical now is that people are paying attention, are looking at that environmental impact statement, and are sending comments to FEMA. In the past, FEMA came to our community and we had the opportunity to give them comments in person. That is not happening in this round. The only place that you have available to make comments is you can do it through an online form. You can send them an email, you can send them a physical letter, or you can attend one of 4 virtual meetings. Those virtual meetings are going to be September 6, 8, 11, and 30. And I know I'm running through this quickly, but again, I'm going to refer you back to the KTIL podcast that will have all of this information linked easily on their website. The key for the biological opinion, if you are not familiar, if this is the first you've heard or you need an update, is that the biological opinion is going to change how we are allowed to develop in our areas of special flood hazard. This means areas that abut our streams, areas where FEMA has mapped the potential for a flood at 1% or greater. So think about that. Mapped a flood at 1% likelihood or greater. It is a huge amount of land in Tillamook County that would be impacted, and the ability to develop on that land severely limited or exceptionally expensive. So all of us paying attention to this is really, really important, and getting our comments in as to how it will impact our communities, again, really, really important. So I encourage you to read the summary of the opinion of the EIS, because the full EIS is 229 pages. I don't think most of us are going to read that. There is a 20-page summary, gives you a really good, just high level look at what it is, and you can make your comments off of that very effectively. So with that, I will stop because we've got cities yet to go, and we're getting lots of good information today. So we are going to move on to the city of Manzanita. Mayor Stock.
Good morning, everyone. Just
Good morning.
briefly, I'd like to invite anyone in the area who's interested to come and join Councilor Campbell and myself this Friday morning at the library in Manzanita. We'll be meeting up there at 10:30, and I know we have folks who are interested in having further discussion and providing further input on our housing ordinances, which we have been working through for some time now. But Councilor and I will be available for any questions or topics of conversation people might want to have when they show up. So we'll look forward to seeing folks at 10:30 this morning at the Public Library in Manzanita. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. We will continue down the coastline to Rockaway Beach and Mayor McNeely.
Good morning.
Good
Charles
morning.
McNeely, Mayor of Rockaway Beach. Our monthly Coffee with Mayor and City Manager is this Thursday at 9 a.m. in the second floor conference room at City Hall. Please join us and share what's on your mind. My annual State of the City message is available on our city website. As one individual commented, we were busy in Rockaway Beach last fiscal year. Our city planner met with representatives from B'nai B'rith Men's Camp, a nonprofit organization, to discuss a path forward for our first workforce housing project in Rockaway Beach. We're all pretty excited about the possibilities with this partnership. And then last, I just want to lift up our first responders, our fire departments, On Sunday, August 17th, the fire department responded to a reported brush fire in the vicinity of Washington Street and Jupiter Street. Light white smoke was observed in the hillside above Juniper Street, and the local resident assisted in locating the fire at the top of the tsunami evacuation trail. Fire units from Rockaway, Garibaldi, and the Oregon Department of Forestry, along with 10 firefighters, accessed the site and effectively contained the blaze using a hand line before deploying a hose lay to fully extinguish the fire. No structures were threatened, and there was no significant damage because of the incident. The Oregon Department of Forestry maintained a presence overnight and monitored the fire status daily throughout the week. Additionally, crews from Rockaway returned to the scene on Thursday to confirm the fire was completely out. Again, a big shout out to our first responders for all they do for our communities. And with that, back to you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, moving along to Bay City. So Mayor Welch is with us this morning. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Commissioner. Yes, we had a very successful Bay City Pearl and Oyster Music Festival, and I really want to shout out to the Pearl Committee, the leadership, Kathleen Lipsig, Nicola Meeks, Patty Watson, and Mike Rawson, and many others, and just did a fantastic job. Representative Javity helped me do the ribbon cutting. Just a great event. I want to thank the community for joining us. The vendors did well. I talked to them. So thank you for spending your money here at the vendors. The music was wonderful, as Commissioner Bell was saying. There was standing room only. And they paid for that a lot with the Bay City Transient Lodging Tax and the sponsors. So I'd really like to shout out to all the sponsors. We also have a coffee with the mayor and city manager this morning at 9:30. So please show up and we can discuss things that are of interest of citizens here. We also are hiring a city recorder utility clerk. So if you're interested in this position for the city of Bay City, please go online and find an application. And the last thing I want to talk about is, well, two things. First, the Bay City Boosters Club. They have done a wonderful job in our welcome garden here at Hayes Oyster, which is across the street from the Fish Peddler. And if you come, they just continue to do wonderful things. There's artwork in there now, there's benches. So I'm hoping people will come and enjoy that. I just want to shout out, just like Mayor McNeely, our first responders. So at the Pearl, the fire department was getting ready to do a water ball, and they got a call for a structure fire in Tillamook. And so the Bay City Fire Department and the Tillamook Fire Department went and worked on that structure fire, I think, for quite a while. So I don't think we had our water ball. But anyways, I just wanted to a shout out to everybody and thank you for attending our Pearl. That's it for me today.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, I was at the Pearl as well, and it is a fantastic festival. As somebody already said, sort of what struck me, which is it felt very local and very friendly. And I'm sure that we had visitors as well. But it really felt like home. It was great. So thank you for putting that together in Bay City. I think that's a wonderful festival. Okay, and the finisher for us today will be City Manager Lewis from Tillamook. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner. And much like the mayor from Bay City, I want to thank all the first responders that responded to our structure fire on Saturday. That involved 4 apartments. Some residents were displaced. We think they're all taken care of, but that was a huge deal, and grateful for all of our first responders. And just want to shout out, I was involved in a meeting yesterday regarding fire departments, and one of the common messages we've heard is that there's not a lot of new volunteers to serve on our fire departments, and just realize that there's many other jobs that the fire departments need done other than carrying a hose into a structure fire. So if you're interested in assisting our fire departments in any way, please reach out to them because they could always use more people. I also want to thank Commissioner Fournier for his commentary on the RVs. This has been an ongoing issue. We want to remind people that parking RVs for long periods of time on city streets in Tillamook is a crime, and we are actively working to enforce that. But all the issues that Commissioner Fournier brought up are what we are facing, especially on the cost. We just do not have the budget money to remedy these, and so they end up sitting and causing even more of an eyesore. So we'll be working on finding solutions to that. Also, we want to announce or talk about, we've got our final movie in the park on Happier Note. Our final movie in the park on Friday at Goodspeed Park will be the Minecraft movie. A little bit of a downer again. Our Main Street flowers will be coming down in the next week. It's a tradition at the end of summer and the first week of September that those come down. So just know that we'll be working on other things to keep our city beautiful, but those flowers have been beautiful all summer long. We have today we are announcing that our police department has a new non-emergency reporting website. This is where you can text a number or scan a QR code or go to a website that we can put out there later, where you can report non-emergency crimes. Obviously, if you have a life safety emergency, 911 is always the best way to go. But for property crimes where you may not have a suspect right away, and we don't want to tie up 911 for things they're non-emergencies, this is a way to report. And for code enforcement issues, you'll be able to report on those as well. So we're very excited to have that available to us. We also have a job opening for a utility clerk at City Hall. Those applications will be available shortly, and we're looking for a good person to come join our team. We also still have our applications open for City Council Ward 2, and everybody should have got their mailer in that, if you're in that district, to give you information on how to apply. The City Council will be talking about our water rate increases. I know this is something we've been talking about for a couple of weeks now, and really longer than that, but publicly for a couple of weeks. Everybody should be getting a mailer in their next bill to discuss the water rate increases and what those will be. But City Council will be discussing that at their meeting on Tuesday, which is a different day than normal because of Labor Day holiday. We will be meeting on Tuesday instead of Monday. So that's my report, Commissioner. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it, John. Okay, with that, we're going to wrap up our meeting today. I want to thank everyone for attending. I want to thank KTIL for broadcasting. We will adjourn this meeting at 8:47 a.m. Everyone have a great Labor Day weekend.